Hey everybody, how are you doing? It's been a long time since I made a video, but I think I'm going to start doing these on a regular basis again because I know a lot of people have been requesting them and had asked where I've been. So recently I was watching Mike Tyson podcast, and in the podcast he had a quote, and the quote basically was, "If you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil." You know, and Mike Tyson's a big recovery guy. He makes no bones about it. He had a major addiction to alcohol. He had a major addiction to cocaine. So he talks a lot about recovery on his podcast. And I was thinking about that statement and I was reflecting on this year. Because going into this year, I literally thought that this was going to be my rebound year. You know, I had a period of sobriety. I cleaned up my diet. I was getting in shape physically. I was starting a new job January 2nd. Everything was working in my favor. Almost too good to be true, specifically after the last 6-7 years or so that I've lived with everything that I dealt with, and doing everything by the book. Speaking at the hospital, speaking at AA meetings. Again, really focused on my nutrition, focused on exercise, and so forth. And then I don't know, about the third week of January, I do a shoulder workout. And, during that workout the next day, I wake up, I got a little shoulder pain in my left shoulder, and didn't think much of it. Thought that it was just a post-workout type of soreness. And as we started progressing, the soreness started getting worse. It was warm to the touch. The skin started turning a little red, so I went to urgent care. Urgent care diagnosed me with cellulitis. Gave me some strong oral antibiotics, which I took for a period of time. But during that period of time, over 4 days, the infection, I guess, seemed to get a little worse. So on a Monday, I believe it was the Monday after the Super Bowl, I decided to go back to the urgent care. I didn't wait the week. Just something was wrong. It was oozing. It just looked ugly. I go to urgent care. They tell me to go straight to the hospital. I go straight to Elmhurst Hospital in Elmhurst, Illinois. And at first they told me that I might have a blood infection and it could be fatal. I do a blood culture, that comes back negative. Then they tell me that I might have an infection in my bone in my left arm and I might lose my left arm. Do a bone scan, that comes back okay. I believe they did an MRI or some type of other x-ray, but they did verify that there was some form of infection in my left shoulder. I never had surgery in my life. I meet with the surgeon that Monday night. They're telling me that they're taking me down for emergency surgery the next morning. And they're telling me that I'm going to have a gaping hole in my upper left arm and my shoulder area, and that I might lose 75% of my deltoid, and I might have to see a cosmetic surgeon, otherwise I'm going to look a little lopsided. Go into that surgery not knowing what to expect and how I was going to wake up, and really scared shitless because I'm an opiate addict in recovery. As I shared in previous videos, I obviously had a major pain pill addiction and didn't know how I was going to deal with the pain. Wake up in recovery, turns out that they were able to get the abscess out. They were able to save the shoulder, but I woke up and I literally had a hole in my upper left shoulder that I could damn near put my fist in. And then they don't close it up, So for a period of time, I actually had to go to a friend's house whose wife was a nurse, and she had to unpack it and repack it. And then eventually I started going to the wound clinic, and eventually I got something called a portable wound vac, where I had a hose coming from my upper left arm all the way down to a little device around my stomach that was sucking out all the garbage, all the, I guess, infection or whatever it might be that was in there. That happened February 6th. I didn't get fully discharged from the wound clinic to June 6th, so it was a 4-month recovery process. Those first 3 weeks with that hole in my arm was absolutely hell. I refused all pain medications. Pretty much just took Tylenol 500. When I got discharged from the hospital after a week, I went to go fill my prescription. I believe they gave me like an anti-inflammatory or something like that. I go to Osco Pharmacy and they said, "Oh, we got 2 prescriptions here for you." We got the anti-inflammatory and we got Norcos for you, pain pills. Now, my doctor knew I was an opiate addict in recovery. I had conversations with him. He obviously didn't think that I was going to be able to withstand the pain, and he phoned in a prescription, which to an addict, that's like pest candy. I turned it down. Those first couple weeks out of the hospital was not much sleep. I can't begin to tell you the pain that I was in, but I'll be damned if I was going to go back to taking pain pills again. Battled through it, battled through the pain of the wound clinic, them unpacking and repacking the arm, taking the hose out and so forth. Probably about 2 months into that recovery, against the doctor's wishes, started working out a little bit here, a little bit there, light weights, pretty much the right side, not the left side, and just tried to stay as focused as I possibly can. I'm not going to lie to you, that physical fitness has been a major part of my recovery, and to have that taken away, man, those damn demons were creeping in my head. Some dark thoughts, some bad thoughts on the mental health side, some dark thoughts, some bad thoughts on the alcohol and addiction side as well. The best way I can describe it is it's kind of like an old cartoon where you got the angel on your right shoulder, you got the devil on the left shoulder. They're both whispering in your ear and they're both trying to tell you what to do. And all I kept telling myself was, I got to do the next right thing. I got to do the next right thing. I got to do the next right thing. Or I had a friend of mine that he would always remind me, WWJD, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? And I just tried to make good decisions along the way. Stayed focused with the working out. Eventually got cleared. Started doing full-blown weightlifting again. Diet was always good. That actually worked in my favor because the tissue was able to rebuild. The skin was able to rebuild. Honestly, the diet that they gave me to rebuild the tissue was exactly the same diet that I was following from a mental health perspective, as well as a weightlifting perspective as well. High protein, low carb. Very focused on, chicken and fish. And, things started to progress. But I say this in such a way because there were things that have happened over the last 12 months or so where the devil kind of came at me, with different things that happened in my life to try to trigger me, to try to get me to relapse. And it just didn't work. And then he hit me with this, which probably almost would have certainly led me to a relapse. But I had to friggin' fight through it, And, I'm a firm believer that when you make the right decision, God has a way of rewarding you, I think everything is a test. I think when things are thrown at you on a daily basis, it's a test. And God sits back and sees, what you're going to do. Are you going to choose the right decision, or are you going to take the easy decision and take those pain pills and become an addict again? And I'm a firm believer that the more tests that you pass, the better things happen in your life. And I can honestly tell you that I'm a much stronger person now, sitting here in August of 2023, than I was in January of 2023, both physically and mentally. I don't know how I got through it. It was a lot of recovery stuff. It was one day at a time, living the moment, going back to basics, going back to probably more meetings than I've ever attended, virtually or in person, while I was trying to battle through some of those pains. Still trying to speak at the hospitals. I remember speaking at the hospital with that hose coming out of my arm and so forth, going through security because we had to get on the psychiatric unit and they were asking questions about what that machine was around my waist. But here we are, and I'm back at it with the videos, and I just kind of wanted to throw that out to you because everybody thinks that when you get into recovery, your life is going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. There's always things that are going to happen. That's life. And a lot of life is pain, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain. The key is, how do you respond to that pain? Your greatest opportunity for growth is when pain happens, whether it is physical or mental. I see that now. I see that basically from what I went through, on the addiction side. And I see that now going through this medical setback that I faced this year that has consumed half my year so far. But I look at myself now, a couple months removed, from being discharged, from the wound clinic. And I compare myself in pictures now versus where I was December 31st going into the year thinking, oh, Mark, you're in the best shape of your life. And honestly, I feel like I'm in better shape now than I was then because I was so regimented and disciplined because I wanted to beat this and didn't want to set back. So as life happens and as shit happens in your life, you got to fight back stronger and you got to do the right thing. And the right thing is living a good lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle. So I hope this video helps a little bit. Again, Suffer to Tougher on Facebook, Suffer to Tougher on YouTube. Please like and please subscribe. And hopefully we get more of these videos out over the next couple weeks. Take care and have a good day.